For this experiment, you will need distilled water, a cone penetrometer, an aluminum cup, spatulas, a pair of latex gloves, a tray containing 15 containers, as well as a perspex sheet. The liquid limit test is usually conducted on a portion of soil passing a 425 micrometer mesh. The soil is thoroughly mixed with distilled water into a smooth thick paste and stored in an airtight container, or in this case, an airtight bag, for 24 hours to allow for full penetration of the water. After you have put on your gloves, take out some clay from the bag and place it onto the perspex sheet. After placing the soil onto the perspex sheet, add some distilled water. Then begin mixing the water and clay mixture. Ensure that the clay and water mixture is mixed homogeneously for up to 10 minutes so that the water content is uniform throughout the entire mixture. After mixing, use a spatula to transfer some of the soil into the aluminum cup. Scoop up some soil and compact it against the side of the aluminum cup. Ensure that there are no air voids. Do this until the entire cup is filled. After the cup is full, level off the soil surface with the top of the cup. This can be done using the side of the spatula. Then, use a piece of tissue paper to wipe off the excess soil around the rim of the cup. The cup is now ready to be placed in the cone penetrometer for testing. This is the cone penetrometer. So before we begin the experiment, please ensure that the tip of the cone is clean. If it is not clean, use a piece of tissue paper to wipe it clean before we start using it. With the cup of clay that you have prepared earlier on, place it in the middle of the cone penetrometer and ensure that the tip of the cone lies just above the surface of the soil. Ensure that the machine is switched on. Take the initial reading by pressing down the lever at the top. In this case, the initial reading is 0 millimeters. To start the test, flip the switch at the bottom of the machine. The cone is released to penetrate the soil paste for exactly 5 seconds and is relocked in its new position, as you can hear the click. Now, take the second gauge reading by pressing the lever down. In this case, the reading reads 13.89 millimeters. The difference between the first and second readings give the amount of cone penetration in millimeters. Ensure that the penetration that you obtain lies between 15 to 25 millimeters. The BS1377 requires each water content to be penetration tested twice and a penetration compared to ensure that they agree within a specific tolerance. If the agreement is close, the water content of the soil paste is measured. Otherwise, the result is discarded and the test is repeated. If the penetration is less than 20 millimeters, more water is then added and the soil is remixed and retested. at least 4 different water contents with penetrations enveloping the 20 mm mark should be tested to give 4 points, which are then plotted on a graph of water content against penetration. A straight line is then fitted to the 4 points, and the water content at which the penetration is 20 millimeters is then read off the graph. After removing the cup from the cone penetrometer, use a spatula to obtain a sample of soil and place it into a container. You should obtain 3 samples in total. Ensure that you do not scoop out all the soil in the cup, as this soil will be used to obtain a second liquid limit reading later on. For the remaining soil in the aluminium cup, remove it and place it onto your Perspex sheet, where more water or less water will be added to obtain a different liquid limit reading.